Now we are
Here we are again.
We're back.
We're back again. Looking forward to a lot to accomplish today. Jens and I have been actually chatting online for far longer than we should have been.
Without recording, you mean?
Without recording, yes. But actually, some really good insights that maybe we will record one day as an added bonus. What do you reckon? So listen, we're going to dive straight in today on our journey to build this online course. If you're following it, thank you for continuing to follow. Hope you're getting as much out of it as I know I am. Thanks to the expert genius of my friend here. No, and you know, I mean, I genuinely do mean that. So let's just dive in, mate, and show the folks what we've got for them today.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I'm just sharing my screen, which you should be able to see now.
Yep.
So just zooming out. So what we did the first time, we looked into getting an ecosystem understanding. The second video was around building on what are the customer needs, dreams, and desires, and finding out what the offer is. The third one was where we looked into experiment, which we will take further today. And the last one, we looked into what is the story, how you bring that together, and what is like the sales perspective of it. So today we look into, and we focus mainly on the left side today, which is like, what did you learn from the experiments? Because last time we haven't had enough data back. So let's dive straight into what are the different customer types, the different people who said they're interested in an online course.
Yeah, so there are, surprisingly, we were looking at three categories. Okay, so we were looking at existing brick and mortar retailers, we were looking at online e-commerce brands, and then we were looking at the real estate industry, so mall owners and mall landlords.
Yeah.
The biggest group that has shown interest and has come back through our surveys and everything is the online community, without a shadow of a doubt. Online e-commerce brands, digitally native brands, etc. Right? Resoundingly the biggest group. The next group was mall owners and landlords. And then the third, the brick and mortar group, we had no feedback from at all.
That's fascinating. Did you think that there would be at all in that direction?
I did not think. Well, I thought it would be evenly split between brick and mortar retailers and landlords. I really did, and that there would be some e-com brands, you know, kind of bringing up the third category. So if nothing else is a piece of learning, this has really shifted my thinking around where this industry might be going as well. And I have been seeing that through, you know, inquiries and so on, but not to the extent that the feedback that we've got here has been overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, it would be quite interesting to find out in the future is if you would do a physical training, like you go somewhere and you train inside the corporation, train them how to do that, if that would be a different response.
Yes. Yeah.
Rather
absolutely.
than an online course. So that would be an interesting one to find out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I agree. It's fascinating that specifically the online retailers are interested in how they can do something physical. Which I agree it was a trend over the last years as well, where you see like Amazon is looking into doing things, and other digital native retailers are.
I mean, if you look at, you know, Bonobos and Warby Parker and guys like that, for sure. But yeah, I mean, overwhelmingly online interest, which I think is really encouraging.
Yeah. And it's good because it gives us very good insights on which language you use inside the online course, because you can basically dial into, hey, this is for the online retailers. That's how it works.
Yeah, correct.
So what about price? What did you learn from a price perspective?
So again, price is all over the board. So at the top end, at the top end, the value was around $1,500.
Yeah.
Which again really surprised me. The lower end was at 40. But there is a mid. There's a much the mid range of that is around the 200 to 400 range.
Yeah, that's not bad. So it's quite a healthy balance, because even, let's say, worst case from a financial perspective, if you would do that for $40, it's still $40. It's not $5.
Absolutely, no, absolutely right. Yeah. But as I say, you know, that middle ground was the largest percentage by far.
Yeah.
So and I think that, and again, my thinking was totally in a different place as far as that was concerned. So you know, research is key to this whole this whole strategy and whole process.
Yeah. And the cool thing was that allows us now to play with different perspectives. So we could do prototypes where you get more towards the higher end, or use the middle end or the lower end. Then you see how many would be willing to sign up going forward, so that you basically get an understanding of what the benefit will be.
Sure. Now, so one of the things that I've got going around in my head is that perception of value versus time.
Yeah.
So you know, at a higher value, is that a shorter length of time because it is completely laser focused, or at a lower value, is that because, you know, you can take your time and you can wander through it, and then the kind of, and I don't know if this is relevant to online learning, but the almost, to use a retail term, the shelf life of your student.
I would even go into what is the lifetime value of your student if you build it up. But I agree, that's something we need to figure out while prototyping. Because that's basically what we will find out when you look into building the course and launching it. You can do different versions of it, shorter ones, longer ones, and even before doing it, we could even post different perspectives of, hey, there's an online course that takes you 2 days or an hour or 20 days, 4 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
That's cool. Did you get any feedback from a content perspective?
Yes. So I looked at a number of online providers for courses.
Yeah.
Retail is covered by them, and but under that retail umbrella, you have, as you would expect, you know, customer service, marketing, technology, obviously, you know, retail management, retail supervision. So retail as a category is exceptionally well covered.
Yeah.
Pop-up retailing, I could find absolutely nothing.
That's awesome.
Around pop-up retailing. And interesting, when I was researching pop-up retailing, what came up was, you know, pop-up technology. So, you know, pop-ups on screens or things like that. So I think from a, and again, you know, research is awesome to have for this, that yes, you know, retail's got some value in there, and again, I was looking at the pricing on those courses, and they are kind of, you know, there's a mixed bag in there as far as pricing was concerned, but certainly some of those elements that are specific for retailing can be specific for pop-up in a different way.
Yeah.
So you know, when we're talking about customer service in store, that's how you would do it, but in a pop-up environment, this is how you would do it.
Yeah.
So that again was an immensely encouraging information and data to come across.
And even if you see the CX management, marketing, and tech, that all could be different from a flavor perspective in a pop-up.
Yeah.
That's one perspective. The other one is if you look into the needs of online retailers to do that first time in a physical environment, I think it's again a different perspective. You can build that around the pop-up and help them. Okay, you come from the marketing world in an online space. In a physical world, that's how it's going to work with a pop-up.
Absolutely right. Yeah, completely.
So that is really, really, really specific to the needs of the online retailers. And I think
Yes.
that's also the niching perspective, where you get even more people looking at it who are interested, coming from that angle.
Totally.
That's cool. Any other topics, any other things you learned?
So from a again, research perspective around, I think the time that people expect something like this might take, and I think that no longer than 4 weeks. And again, I guess maybe that's, you know, that's 4 weeks that they could devote to it. So whether it's a and I need some more understanding and clarity around this myself, whether it's a 10-hour online course that they can, you know, they can do, 2 hours a day or 2 hours a week or something, to who knows, but the whole thing shouldn't take longer than 4 weeks. But there was and again, the research showed that there was an overwhelming percentage that thought that a week would be long enough. So, and again, I think if we're looking at online brands or online, the online community that are, in front of screens all the time, then maybe that's the right thing. If you're a brick and mortar retailer and you're working 7 days a week and you work, kind of 8 till 8, then time. People become time precious. So I think that was a really valuable learning as well.
That's interesting, because that's also something we can play with. And I agree. If there's the majority saying maximum a week, then we can take that into perspective and say, okay, because the next part will be looking into, okay, how do we dial in from a curriculum perspective? Always starting with the customer needs, then looking into what would be a lecture towards that perspective, what would be the goal of that one lecture, and what is the content. And then it's basically what we need to do is building that up step by step, that you cover all the needs. And that then starts, of course, with the decision, okay, is it for online retailers or is it for mall owners? Because the content or the message will be most probably different in parts of it.
Yes, completely. Yeah.
So that's something you need to decide for yourself, or at least what is the starting point, because then you can still have, this is an online course which has two parallel parts. There are common things, but if you're an online retailer, you need to go to this lessons. If you're a mall owner, you should be going to that lessons. And this is again a combined lesson.
Absolutely. And actually they're two very different marketing strategies as well.
Yeah. So that's a bit what we need to dig into to understand what are the differences, and does it make sense even to do them together?
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit the key perspective to find out. So from a homework perspective, it's really taking all the research insights and already thinking of what are the needs, specific needs from the online retailers, from the mall owners, and then mapping that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy if you want, we can do another recording this week as well, where we go more into details, even if it's just 20 minutes, half an hour. But I think for you, that will give you clarity. And when you have a curriculum, that's the worst word for a German. When you have a menu,
yes.
when you have basically a rough grid of what it could be, you could again prototype that. So you could go to online retailers specifically, say, hey, what do you think? Would this be interesting for you? One or two or whatever. So that's something we can design as well. And then you can do the same on a mall owner perspective. Hey, would you be interested in understanding that and that and that and that? Because then they give you feedback again to what you have been thinking. And if they, let's say in the best case, you get feedback and you just bring that in and it works fine, you can basically just look into, okay, how do we produce the online course and test things? And of course, we can still do other tests that go into, you build basically a mock-up and it looks like it's working, but it's not working. It's just an early sign up. Be part of the early sign up, and then you get access when it's ready.
Yeah.
But then you get a feeling of, is it 2 people who are signing up, 20, 100,000, whatever. So even to the point, is it even worth it? But that's something we can design. That's
sure.
No problem.
Sure. Okay. Well, just a really like 20 minutes today, but actually a really worthwhile and insightful 20 minutes. And again, I just want to emphasize that the research in this is key. I mean, some of those learnings have surprised me. I've got, over 35 years in the business, and that really did shift my thinking around what we're trying to achieve with this as well. So again, as always, you pulled it out of the dusty cobwebs of the back of my head. Thank you for doing that, sir. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, and looking forward to get things moving and seeing the next steps.
Yeah. Okay. Join us again. We'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching.
See you again. Good.
Cool. Thank you.